Hey everyone, and welcome back one last time to Firewatch. It's just Frenzy here today, because this is a bonus video. I wanted to show off some of the stuff I either missed or wasn't able to show off in my main playthrough. First thing is that I mentioned at one point that I wanted to get a better view from Ned's hideout, or at least a view that wasn't completely obscured by dust and smoke. And that is possible in free roam mode. Free roam lets you go pretty much anywhere with a ideal condition 24-hour day-night cycle. I do want to point out that this game wasn't meant to have a dynamic day-night cycle, so when you speed it up it's apparent that it's kind of janky. But considering it wasn't supposed to ever have one, it's pretty good. I guess I should also note that it doesn't seem like you can get to Delilah's tower at all in free roam mode, and in developer commentary mode only when the story allows you to normally. I think it's actually a completely separate map, which would explain why they probably couldn't fit it in with all the various weather and day-night cycle and stuff. So the first deleted scene I'm going to show is a pretty obvious one. We mentioned this one in the main playthrough of the game. When you come to the supply drop to get food, if you were playing a not nice guy, you could take all the other lookouts' food as well. And if you do this, you actually get a
everything I need out of here.
A completely new day and scene that you can't get any other way.
Hey, you didn't take all of the supply drop food, did you?
No. I mean, I don't, I'm hungry.
So, you did.
I gotta go.
This scene here is all about Hawk's Rest. And this one is really, really good. This isn't exactly a deleted scene. The start of this is going to play out exactly the same way that it did in the main playthrough during the LP. But it turns out, if you come here on the first day, and I will point out that there is absolutely no reason for you to come here on the first day. It's very much out of the way. But if you do come here on the first day, after reporting the raccoon attack, there's actually a whole big conversation.
I'm sniffing around an old lookout and I got attacked by a raccoon.
And it's really awesome, so I'm glad I found out about this while making this bonus video.
Wait, is the lookout you're in burned to a crisp and filled with raccoons?
Apparently.
Ooh, Hawk's Rest.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're doing.
What do you mean? I just like to stay out of haunted places myself.
Okay, go on. Out with it.
You want to hear about Raccoon Carter? So, some years ago, way before my time, a man named Winthrop Carter was stationed at Hawk's Rest. He was an angry loner. The story was he lost his life savings betting on horse fights.
Horse fights?
In Mexico. So he did what a lot of us do in times of trouble. He signed up with the Forest Service to watch for fires. His first night in his lookout, there was a break-in, and the break-ins didn't stop. Finally, one night he awoke to find someone in his lookout. He reached for his hand axe and threw it at the figure. And just before the axe killed its target, he heard a small voice cry, "Help!"
What was it?
A raccoon.
Oh, of course.
See, back in these days, the Forest Service wasn't so good about dropping off food and supplies, and well, Carter was hungry. So he did what anyone would do. He skinned and ate it. Eventually, Carter didn't want to eat anything else. It was raccoons or nothing. But one night, as he sharpened his raccoon blade, there was a scratching at the door. He looked towards it, and again, heard a tiny voice. "Help! Help!" He approached slowly, knife in hand, and ripped the door open. But no one was there. But then, from under the bed, he heard another small voice. "Help! Help!" Carter looked under the bed, and, of course, nothing was there either. So, startled but believing he was just tired, Raccoon Carter went out hunting, and for the first night in months, came up empty. Now, in bed, his stomach rumbling, he hears the voice again. "Help! Help!" And now, he wonders if it's coming from inside of him. But then, a figure appears at the edge of the bed. Again, he reaches for his axe, but in its place is another figure. He looks for the door, and there are more and more figures. Beady, glowing eyes peering out through dark masks. He leaps out of bed, horrified, slips and hits his head. And before he can get up, he feels hundreds of little fingers and razor-sharp teeth digging into his skin. Far away in Bighorn Tower, the lookout reported hearing a voice echoing through the valley. Loud at first, and then smaller and smaller, until they faded away forever. "Help! Help! Help!" And that's the story of Raccoon Carter. His ghost still wanders through the valley, moaning, "Help! Help!" on hot summer nights.
So what did the raccoons want help with in the end?
Huh?
Well, they kept crying out for help, help, help.
Ah, hell if I know. Listen, you can't trust raccoons.
That is seriously one of my new favorite dialogues. This came up in the thread. I missed a pretty funny dialogue option here. If you drop the fireworks on the campfire at the start of the game.
That probably could have ended poorly.
I never even considered throwing the fireworks on the campfire.
Regular forest burns.
But it's pretty good. Speaking
I found a
of
sweatshirt from the University of Eastern Colorado.
dialogue options that you can't get except on the first day, this sweater that we talked about a little bit in the LP,
Right, and then put it on.
but there is actually dialogue for this sweatshirt. And I learned that this university is actually the university from The Last of Us, which is why it's here. But you can't get that conversation anytime else, apparently, which is weird.
Enjoy dealing with that.
The situation here, talking to the skinny dipping girls, there's a lot of options, actually. And here's one of the things you can do if you're playing an asshole.
Fucking cool it with the fireworks.
Please just put it down. You asshole!
Light another firework and it won't be your stereo I wreck.
Oh, fuck you, psycho! Yeah, fuck you! You'll fucking pay for this. You can't just harass girls in the woods. Let's get out of here.
You can see how that scene in particular plays into the way the rest of the story turns out.
Hey, I found a pair of old totaled snowmobiles out here. It looks like someone stripped them of a bunch of parts.
Huh.
And that's weird, right?
I mean, I can come up with a bunch of not weird reasons someone would do that out here, but given what's happened, yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
That dialogue and this dialogue are just kind of lines that I missed.
Whoa, you don't need my permission to go to the bathroom, but...
I kind of like this one.
You know, use abandoned shitters at your own peril.
I mean, I'm in the right area.
I do believe. The comms wire runs for quite a ways. Follow it all the way to the top of Beartooth Point, and if it's not damaged, you can loop around back home.
This shale slide is
Um, this one I really just wanted to include because I really like being able to name this Shitty Boss is Going to Get Me Killed Hill.
What about Shitty Boss is gonna get me killed hill?
Oh, is that Absorka Indian? Maybe Creek?
That's actually English for not in my job description.
The dialogue itself is not all that great, although at the bottom of the hill after Henry falls, when Delilah asks him what happened, he says, "My shitty boss tried to get me killed," which is pretty funny. And yeah, there it is, written on the map, and it'll stay there for the whole game. This I just felt like needed to be included. The other sketch of Henry if he chooses to say he poses like He-Man. And I really like the nickname of King Beef.
Hey, I'm at the evac spot near the ravine. Delilah, are you there? Delilah?
Hi, what is it?
I'm at the ravine.
We're not leaving yet. When the time comes, I'll let you know, okay? Look, I'm dealing with a shitstorm over here.
Yeah, got it.
That's what happens if you try and get to Delilah's before finding Ned's cassette tape.
Hey, Henry?
Yeah.
It was also touched on slightly in the thread, although not in a lot of detail.
Because I'm horribly superficial.
But it is possible to not talk to Delilah. Like, pretty much at all. You do have to talk to her a little bit. There are conversations that are forced to happen. But for the most part, you can just kind of
Don't want to answer.
ignore her and let these time out.
In which case,
And you get some interesting things if you do.
I'm going to say that you are lopsided like the hunchback and... ooh, hairy like the man in the iron mask. Take that. Now let's see. In my
This whole situation with Delilah trying to sketch Henry, it's a really good example just because there is an effect to this. We already know that she ends up drawing a picture of us that we can see at the end of the game.
God, you are the whitest man.
And these are a completely separate fourth option
What do you normally
to
like
the
wear?
different prompts.
I'm guessing nothing but really gross bowling shirts. Congratulations. At least tell me about your face. Come on, you're no fun.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll try one last one. I want to know about your eyes.
Get out of here.
I'm drawing you. I need to know.
You're what?
Is that okay? Don't.
Hi.
Awesome. Just gonna make it up, and because I'm nice, you won't look too disfigured. Okay, got it. Thank you, Henry.
You get what you need?
Absolutely.
I feel like there should have been separate dialogue for her there instead of saying thank you at the end. But yeah, here's what the drawing looks like if you don't answer her at all and she just does it with whatever she feels like. Which is... I like the bowling shirt. That's all I'm going to say about it. And no turtle on that drawing because I didn't tell her about
You know,
the
if it
turtle.
makes you feel any better, you're a member of a diverse club of lookouts that have come to the thoroughfare after a breakup. I mean, I assume you went through a breakup.
This dialogue is kind of...
There was Vernon,
you have to
his
never
wife,
tell her
before
about
running
your
cocaine.
wife.
Becca, who was widowed
And she
after
just
her husband
assumes
was
that you had a
drunk
breakup
was
and
trampled by
will
his horse.
talk about
Sharon,
breakups all the
his
time.
boyfriend, had his own boyfriend. Maybe you boned the neighbor. Maybe she boned the neighbor. Maybe you both did. I don't judge. And if you ever want to talk breakups, I'm your gal.
The other thing that happens is if you don't ever talk to Delilah about
Here's a
important
funny thing about
things,
old Delilah.
the conversations still
Okay.
have to happen.
I'm,
Like, information still has to exist in
I
the
have
game.
no doubt that this is relevant
But
information.
sometimes they're framed in some very interesting conversations.
drawer of parking tickets from like 7 states.
Wow, that's very thorough yet completely irresponsible of you. Congrats.
But I'm not so good with the following up with stuff part.
So those parking tickets...
Yeah, they're all unpaid. I'm the scourge of every meter maid from here to Mexico. Anywho, I was digging through all of my documents and memos and updates, and I found something from April about a fence in the middle of the woods at Wapiti Meadows.
Delilah.
I know. It's about how we're supposed to report any damage to our bosses or university officials.
University?
Because they're doing some sort of study. It's a research site. So...
And from here on, it's conversation we've already heard.
what do we think they're studying?
But yeah, apparently Delilah did have information about the fence, but she never thinks to go looking for it, unless you don't tell her about it, in which case apparently she just runs across it.
But why record us? How could they let them do that? Study people who sign up to watch fires? How?
The other really nice touch about not telling Delilah things is that towards the end of the game, when things start getting quite interesting, not responding to Delilah results in her getting stressed out, and rightfully so. But the dialogue that happens is actually really, really good.
Henry, tell me you did not start it. Holy shit. What if you did? Calm down, Delilah. That's crazy. Of course he didn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Would he, Henry? The hell do I do? You know what? Screw it. I'm leaving it and we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna try to get us out of here by... well, I'm gonna try. Over and out.
I'm so sick of letting these people do this to us. We should just burn the place down. Think about it. And dump an ocean of water on it. And these assholes will spend the rest of the summer picking up the pieces. We get to finish out our contracts. Hell, we'll even call in the fire.
Did he leave something? Come on, I can see you over there. Is that a tape player? Did he leave you a tape? What's on the tape, Henry? Henry, do you hear me? Would you tell me what's on the tape? Tell me what's on the goddamn tape!
And there is one last thing that I wanted to show off here. There is an alternate ending to the game. I don't like calling it that, but apparently one of the developers, or at least one of the developers, has actually confirmed that this is an intentional alternate ending. Much like the rest of the game, the game will not tell you what it's supposed to mean. It's sort of up to you to decide that. But here, we'll show it off. What happens is, at the very, very end of the game, when you go to the rescue helicopter, you can choose not to. If you wait a while and sort of walk away from the helicopter, it will take off and fly away without you. The game ends just like normal. It goes through the exact same credit sequence. But I guess the presumption is that Henry just decided that there is no point in going home and decided to just kind of, I don't know, pull a Ned and stay in the forest, I guess. I find it kind of weird. I don't like it as an alternate ending. But there you go. It's a thing that exists. Anyway, that is going to do it for Firewatch. For real this time. Thanks for watching. See you later.